Ernest Hemingway? Go catch a fish, Papa. Tell us all about it later with your short little sentences after ruining your wife's journalism career. The adults are talking. I want to talk about Hemenway. Harriet Hemenway, the savior of the snowy egret. Unfortunately, first I'm going to have to tell you about the age of extermination. While this era, the end of the 19th century, is often focused on the eradication of the passenger pigeon and near complete extinction of dozens more birds due to post-Civil War population boom and economic prosperity, we can throw a few more animals in there as well. In 1873, the United States government gave hunters free ammunition to overhunt bison for the sheer purpose of starving indigenous people. Humans were also part of the age of extinction. The last herd left alive was in Yellowstone National Park. Gray wolves were reduced from a population of perhaps 500,000 to around 300. In less than 100 years, 250,000 sea otter pelts were sold from the American West coastline, resulting in their near extinction. And the beavers, y'all, don't get me started about the beavers. Today's story, though, is about egrets, and it begins with a feather in the hat of one Marie Antoinette at a ball. Like an influencer doing a Sheehan haul, her fashion statement led to a fad on feathered hats, which ushered in an age of environmental destruction. At one point, egret feathers were literally worth twice their weight in gold. One London auction house in 1 year reported the sale of the feather equivalent of 200,000 snowy egrets. In one season, one Cape Cod hunter killed over 40,000 terns, all for the status symbol of your wife wearing a bird on her head, or in some cases 3,000 hummingbirds. This brings us to Harriet Hemenway, the daughter of abolitionists, and proof that nobody has to be a product of their time. Hemenway recruited her cousin Mina Hall in what is perhaps the first national-scale environmental protection movement in the United States. And they did it with tea parties. These tea parties soon became the Massachusetts Audubon Society, which then became the National Audubon Society, because Hemenway knew that the best way for women to get something done is to name their organization after a man. Even though 111 Audubon chapters started in Massachusetts, 105 of them were founded by women. All of this occurred a quarter century before white women would even be allowed to vote. Soon, egrets became known as the white badge of cruelty. So-called autobonnets, made from ribbon instead of feathers, came into fashion, and the world-famous German opera singer Lily Lehmann would only grant autographs to fans if they promised not to wear feather hats. If Sabrina Carpenter can get us all pronouncing espresso correctly, imagine what she could do for the red-cockaded woodpeckers. Social pressure became political pressure, and the Lacey Act was passed. Theodore Roosevelt dedicated the first federal bird reservation on Pelican Island. This would go on to become the 570-plus property National Wildlife Refuge system that today protects over 95 million acres of land and over 700 million acres of water. The Lacey Act was succeeded by the Weeks-McLean Law, sponsored, of course, by the Massachusetts senator, which then led to the Migratory Bird Treaty Act of 1918. This international treaty is credited with the recovery of countless birds, and because birds are indicator species of healthy habitats, an untold additional number of species. Snowy egrets have recovered from their original range and then some. One of the most remarkable recovery stories of American wildlife history. Cut to today, when the meme puppy agency has decimated the workforce at already underfunded national wildlife refuges, and portions of the Migratory Bird Treaty Act were weakened just this week, with more to come. When the going gets tough, etc. It reminds me of the saying an acquaintance of mine has on her office wall by anthropologist Margaret Mead. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. I suppose it's time for more tea parties.